Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives, right? So let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me in everything is Minna.
So last week we talked about the importance of self-education,
Yes.
and of course that is not about learning more about your career, something to improve your health, or to better your finances, or maybe make a better relationships.
I agree. So this way, this week we're gonna extend on that, and we're gonna talk a little bit about self care, right? I think it's really important about self care, and too many people neglect it because they're claiming they're too busy for self care.
Well, the thing is, high achievers especially, like the people that are super successful, let's say Olympic winners, Olympians.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Right? You don't have to tell them to work hard. You don't have to tell them to exercise, to practice. The hardest part for super achievers is that they don't know how to recover. And if they don't recover, they don't perform well.
That is so true, because it's like just like anything else, you can go all out in anything, but without that recovery, you don't have that little extra to be more performing later, right? Because you have to recover so you can perform better next time around, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for them to tell a super achiever to practice, to spend more time doing, studying or whatever it is, but to tell them to just back off and take some time to themselves to recover, that's hard.
It is so true. And, it's one of the things that I always tell my clients, that active recovery is very important. Even stress nowadays. I think stress is a big one that a lot of people are having problems with, right?
So regular self-care routine, it can help you build self-esteem and confidence. And of course, it also reduces your anxiety and stress and improve your overall happiness. So in the long run, a self-care practice will also help you manage your chronic illnesses, make you chronically healthy, and of course improve your relationships, and it may even play a role in prevention of future diseases.
I so agree on that, because it's like there are so many things that chronic stress in your body is not just in your mind, right? It's not only affecting relationships, but it can cause a lot of chronic problems. That's like chronic indigestion, right? I know a lot of people that are stressed. They have like constipation. They have a lot of things that are backed up, right? It's just like it's because your body is just waiting to be recovering, but you're not giving opportunity for it to do so.
Yeah, part of recovery is sleep, and you know that when we sleep, that's when our body processes all the waste of your system, and
Correct.
absorb nutrition and all that. So you don't sleep well, that's when you get sick.
That's interesting when you talk about sleep, because I know so many people say, oh, I had a bad sleep last night because I ate too late, or I did this or I did that, and then but I still got 8 hours. I was like, well, 8 hours doesn't mean anything, like you said, unless it's rested. And what you're saying is so true too. Is like I think it's important for that self care before you go to sleep is what you're concentrating on too, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's different types of self-care you can do. You don't have to stick with one thing. I know some people like to exercise. You do, I don't. But there's actually 7 different types of self-care exercises that you can do for yourself. First one, emotional self-care.
Okay.
Journaling is one. Writing gratitude journals or meditations. Some people like doing mantras. That's one way to calm your mind and just focusing on blah, 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 whatever it is that you're talking about.
Correct. That one's a little hard to do. I think I can do the first two, but the mantras is definitely a little bit harder. Number 2, like Minna says, is physical self care. Exercising, dancing, which I'm horrible at. But massage, nap. All right. I think. We have our massaging chairs. We got like massaging compression pants. There's so many ways for self care, just to help your body relax a little bit, right? And exercise. It's very therapeutic for some people. Not always hard for everyone.
Not for me. Naps are, massages are. I love those. And of course, there's mental self care, and what that means is like maybe you like to write, like Christy, she likes to write. Maybe it's about picking up a book, or maybe for some reason, some people is going to the museum. They just love going to see the museum stuff.
That's so true. I like some museums that has to do with dinosaurs, Star Wars.
Well, something that interests you, right?
Oh, next one is social self care. And I think this one's really important because I think this was one of the things that the centurions shared, right? Is like hanging out with a big group of friends, right? Catching with friends that is part of your tribe. Because like for the people that are living the longest, one of the commonalities is they have a group of friends that they hang out with, most of the time, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest problems during the last few years when we were shut down and, hiding inside our homes. We're missing that component, and
Correct.
we're not recovering properly without that. Catching up with people, with friends that we like.
And of course, cuddling with our pets, right?
Well, that we can do.
I'm sure you've seen our cats jump across, in front of our cameras once in a while. And very therapeutic, right? For if you have cats, you have dogs, it's like as soon as they jump on your lap and they chill out, everything just doesn't matter anymore.
They just put you in a different state.
Exactly.
Right? Of course, you can also do like a spiritual self care, which is, it could be a prayer, it could be something like yoga, or volunteering is one way to do that, or just go for like a nature walk.
Yeah, I know a lot of people be really good after dinner or before in the morning to take a walk, and just seeing everything around you just puts everything in perspective, right? How everything goes on regardless of what you do, right? I think that's amazing, if you think about that.
Well, you think about practical self-care, is probably not your thing, but it's totally my thing. So what that means is organizing things. I like organizing my desk. I'm going to look at your desk right now. This is a mess. My desk, completely different. My mailbox, inbox, completely different than yours. Some people like to meal prep. Some people like to actually clean. And by the way, if you like to clean, you're welcome to come to my house and scrub my floors.
That is one thing we share. We do not like cleaning. Right, and that's why our housekeeper is our best friend. And then it comes down to professional self-care. You need to schedule breaks, like scheduling your lunch break, or scheduling breaks where you have focused work, where you're not answering calls, you're not answering texts. You basically put everything in that do not disturb mode, right? And I think that's great because like nowadays our phone, computer, iPad, everything, once you put it do not disturb, I don't get notifications at all. And then for that 90 minutes, I can focus, right? And then, of course, make sure you take those mental sick days. I mean, I'm not playing hooky, but if you really need a mental sick day because things just aren't right, they're there for you, right?
So let's talk about how do you find time for self-care?
Yes, it's very important because we hear all the time that we never have enough time to do this. We talk about 7 things. Even if you're going to do everything for 3 to 5 minutes, that's 35 minutes a day. It's like, I did my math right. I think that's right. Anyways, where are you going to find 35 minutes a day? And one of the things that me and Minna really like to do is we like to do stacking. So what are some ways that we can stack self-care?
Well, so let's say what stacking means is just, you do a couple of things together, right? So when you are exercising, you could listen to a podcast that's inspiring. That could be one way.
Yeah, or even when you're driving to work, right? Listening to podcasts, right? So you're learning a little bit of education, or you've been listening to a meditation, not ones that put you to sleep, right? The ones that sort of bring you down, chill you out, right? Or maybe even learning a lesson, right? Learning a new language, right? Yeah, I love that.
Maybe when you go out for a walk, for a nature walk, you go with your loved one, or go with your friend, or bring a dog.
Correct. And one of the things that we like to do when we're meditating is we have infrared PMF table, and we have our meditation on. We're getting infrared treatment, and for 20 minutes I get my meditation, I get my body reset, and it's great. It's so much active recovery there.
Have you ever seen those people that they were pushing the baby around and they were running at the same time?
Yeah. Those are just.
Well, that's one way to do it.
But that is just a disaster. I so worry about those things, right? He's like, what if you break really quickly? Does the baby fly out? I don't know. But I think it's a great way. You get the kids out, nature, you're getting your exercise in,
Yeah,
for sure.
but you get the idea. You can do several things at the same time. You don't have to do one thing and then the other, and that will save you time.
I so agree. So, always do something creative, right? I think just be a little creative about how you stack things and see what works for you.
All right.
So, coming right up, we're going to have our guest of the week with Christy, but before that, we're going to have a few ads.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy our later years full of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often, with age, our bodies start to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing and recovery time, sleep, it all just seems to go downhill. Unless you're using LifeWave X39, the world's first product ever to activate stem cells. A true breakthrough in regenerative science that helps restore our bodies to a healthier, more youthful state. The secret? By harnessing the power of LifeWave's patented phototherapy, X39 uses light to elevate a peptide proven to signal the activation of stem cells. Think about it. These are the cells that generate and regenerate all the cells and structures of the human body. They're the building blocks for our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an internal repair system everywhere. But as we age, stem cells become less effective. Their ability to repair damaged tissue is reduced. In fact, by age 60, they've slowed dramatically. But all that changes when just one LifeWave X39 patch is placed anywhere on the body each day. It's time you experience the power of X39.
Hi, everybody. Christy here with today's Kids Corner tip. I want to talk a little bit more about what if your child is struggling in school at any way. They might be saying things like resisting going to school, or telling you their tummy hurts, or that it's too hard, or throwing a fit and refusing to do homework, or just anything like that in that realm is a sign for you, the parent, the all-important parent, that something's wrong. So the most important thing to understand is please do not force them, because that just makes everything worse. You as the parent are the most important thing in their lives, especially when they're little. And they need you to hear them and understand them. So you can say something like, you know what, let's take a break and let's go outside and have a walk, or, take the dog for a walk, or just go play, or something active like that. And then see if you can kind of get a little out of them, like, why don't you want to do your homework? Because they'll tell you it's too hard, or I don't like it, or it's boring. We don't want our bosses hanging over us, forcing us and yelling at us when we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So please don't do it to your kids. Just don't. Hear them, understand them. So if you need any tips, or you want to just chat, you can reach me and I'll help you out. All right. Ciao for now, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you, our darling audience, to my friend Jennifer Keable. She is a women's success and fulfillment strategist. Okay, now, so I just have to know all about this. But just to kind of introduce you to her resilience is just evident. She has navigated through crippling imposter syndrome and 3, yes, count them, as young as she is, 3 burnouts. Her first, which happened at the age of 21. So she marries empathy with experience in her coaching. She is celebrated for her transformative touch. Clients don't just evolve, they skyrocket, securing promotions, hefty pay raises, discovering an unparalleled level of work-life balance, and rediscovering their self-worth and interconnection. Welcome, Jennifer, to the show.
Thank you so much, Christy. It's so wonderful to be here with you.
I just couldn't wait till we got to have you on because I think that so many people are struggling so much with these kinds of things right now, with anxiety and fear and self-doubt. That's a big one, yes. And another thing seems to be the guilt that comes with taking care of ourselves.
Right.
That is, what do you think about that? Do you know why we're having such trouble prioritizing self-care?
Well, what I know is we live in a society where we are praised for being busy, right? It's almost like the gold medal is given to that person who is the busiest, who's doing the most things for everything and everybody else, right? This falls within both men and women, but women especially are taught to take care of others, right? So whether it's our children, our aging parents, working hard to achieve that high level of success in our jobs, we're constantly going, giving. And that's where a lot of us say that our value comes from, or not even say, but we feel our value comes from.
Oh, that is so true. We're wives and mothers or girlfriends, and then plus our jobs and taking care of everybody there, and everybody else comes first.
Right. Everyone else comes first. And then when we finally have an opportunity to do something for ourselves, a lot of women really struggle with it. And they don't actually enjoy that time away, or they don't enjoy that thing that they're doing for themselves because they think they should be doing something, because they're only valuable if they're doing something.
Oh, and that's just burnout waiting to happen.
Oh gosh, I know. I know.
Well, how can we as individuals, or maybe as communities even, overcome the guilt of that and make self-care a non-negotiable? Because really it needs to be a non-negotiable in our lives.
Yeah, it really does need to be a non-negotiable. And once it becomes a non-negotiable, that's when your life shifts, right? But how do we get over that initial guilt? It's by sitting down and having that honest conversation with yourself. Am I showing up as the person that I want to be, right? Am I actually pleasant in my interactions with others? Or am I only pleasant when I'm working or in my other duties? And then I come home and the people who I love most, who I cherish most in life, my partner, my kids, other family, friends, I'm snappy at them. Because if you are snappy constantly we all have our moments. None of us are perfect. So don't get me wrong. But if it is a constant thing that we're facing over and over and over, it is evident it is time for some self-care. And we can feel bad about it, but what would feel better? What if you got to choose your response to your partner, to your kids, versus being reactive?
I love that. When I was teaching, my family knew I basically crawl home at the end of the day, and I would lay on the floor, and I told everyone, just don't talk to me until I get up off the floor. Give me that time. And then I was able to regroup and then be present. But I did that. I would be just like, I'm too overwhelmed. So.
Oh, I know. And that reactiveness is a result of not giving ourselves space, right? When we constantly have to go, do, be there for everybody else, we don't have time to just rejuvenate, to recharge, right? Yeah. So it's almost like, think about it as your phone, that one device that so many of us are addicted to, right? It's with us almost everywhere we go. You won't let your phone get down to 20 or 5% battery because it starts shutting down the background apps, because it won't operate properly without it. And we are the same. We go into a self-protection mechanism and we don't operate at our full capacity when we don't allow ourselves to properly recharge. So it can feel really guilty to do it in the first place, but until we do it, We're not going to become the being, the professional, the mom, the wife, the daughter, the best friend, the sister that we want to be.
That is so true. Or we get physically ill because
Or we
we've
get
just
physically ill.
way overdone it and our bodies just shut us down. Just like the
Right.
phone. That is the perfect metaphor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what the vast majority of diseases come from, right? It's that dis-ease. It's caused from internal stress.
Yes.
What if we can prevent future illnesses? What if we can promote our own happiness and our own relationships by giving ourselves a little bit of self-care every day? And the thing that I hear most from people is it's like, but I don't have time. You don't get it, Jennifer. I can barely fit in everything into my day as it is. And you want me to add something else? Just trust me. Just give it a try, right? It can be 5 minutes before you go to work, but you're showing up intentionally. You're picturing how you want to show up in each interaction, right? Maybe it's 5 minutes of walking and intentional breathing during lunch break. And yes, I said actually taking a lunch break, right? It's those few
Yes.
breaths that you take in the car before you walk through the door again. So I'm not telling you it has to be hours a day, but I promise you, you have a few minutes multiple times a day that you can show up more intentionally so that you can get better results.
You know, I have to say, I see that. I see that exactly because that makes a huge difference. But I think you can also practice self-care, like especially if you have very young children, by doing it with them. Like I used to do that in my classroom. I had an I need a break corner. And the kids were allowed to go, and they knew my rule was to set the egg timer for 3 minutes, and they didn't break my rule, but it was that minute to just chill on the big fluffy beanbag and then come back. And that I never had behavior problems because I gave them that space.
And what a beautiful way to teach them and show them by example. That I feel like is such a beautiful connection to boundaries, right? So I'm really into meditating, but a lot of the people that are in my meditation community are like, but Jennifer, how do you do it when you've got kids who just want something from you, need something from you, whatever it is? And it's because from the very get-go, I set a very clear and consistent boundary of mommy's taking 15 minutes. My door is going to be shut, and unless there's an emergency, go see daddy or just wait. Everything's going to be okay, I promise. Right? Of course, you can't leave a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old on their own, but there's other ways around that, such as napping and all that fun jazz. But like you said, right? It's finding that time and showing them it's okay to ask for space.
And or even bring them in, because meditation is a fabulous tool to teach children.
Oh, yes.
It is. Teach them self-care right from the beginning. You know?
Way easier from the beginning versus trying to undo.
Yes. I mean,
Or
and
change
you know,
course.
self-care plays a huge role in being a resilient human being and coping with everything that comes at us in life. You know, life happens. And so how do you see that, you know, really amplifying the ability, our own self-care practice, amplifying our ability to just deal with life in general?
Oh my God. I feel like it is the true precursor to resilience, to showing up in a calm, in a peaceful, in a regulated state. And I noticed that difference in myself huge once I started meditating regularly. Right? So same thing. Oh, I don't have time to meditate. How am I supposed to add in another half an hour to my day that's already compressed for time? But once I started doing that every single day, I literally just felt like the anxiety begin to wash away from me. I noticed the reactive responses to my family becoming a way of the past or way less often. And so I feel like if you truly want to become resilient, if you want to let go of the anxiety, if you want to actually become more effective in those things that mean most to you, self-care is a necessity. You just can't go without it.
Oh my gosh, it's just like that old tired analogy about putting your mask on first on the airplane, because if you can't breathe, you can't help the people around you. It's the, you know, I know it's a tired, but it's true.
Yes. But it's funny how so many people hear that, but don't really think about what it means, right? That truly, I am not going to be able to help you at my full capacity, or I'll begin to start and then I'll have nothing left, right? Just like if I try to help you, but my mask isn't on yet, I might be able to start, but I'm not going to be there for you till the end.
Right. You're going to pass out and, and yeah, that's a really good point. And people tend to think, well, I love this resilience thing because we think we're so strong because we're enduring everything, but actually it's tearing us down.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah.
And I think like part of that is knowing that it's okay to ask for help too. That is a beautiful form of self-care, is knowing that it is okay to ask for help and that you are no less powerful, no less amazing because you asked for help. In fact, it makes you even more powerful, right? It enables those people around you to be able to step up because it feels damn good. Just like it feels good for you to help people, it feels good for those other people to be there for you too.
Absolutely. This show is the Chronically Healthy Life.
Right.
To me, this is the essence of health. It's like more foundational almost than maybe not food and water, but but still that emotional foundation, that is just huge. Just huge. I mean, how many times have you just come across someone in the store and they've ripped you apart and it's like, I didn't do anything. I'm just passing you by. And you have to kind of go, gee, they must have a really sucky day going on. And
100%.
Yeah, poor people. Yeah. It's like, hey, self-care, guys.
Give them a little sticky yellow card. Self-care.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we've all been there, right? It's like we all have been there where we just push ourselves to that point where it's like it feels like you have no option to respond. It just kind of like blurts right out of you. And that is a sure tell sign that you've gone all too far.
Oh, yes. Right? What other kinds of signs kind of just show us that maybe someone around us or ourselves, are neglecting our self-care?
Oftentimes it can be seen as resentment. So sometimes in ourselves, we might start resenting people, right? So it's like, oh, my husband, he just gets to go out with his friends when he wants. He gets to play his video games. Ugh, my coworkers, they're not staying here till 6, right? They're gone at 4. They're fine at home with their family having dinner. Here I am again, right? So it's starting to hold resentment to those people around us because they get to live the life and do the things that we're wanting to do. That can be a good sign to be able to tell. And also sometimes it's that inner voice that starts telling you, I think I need to start taking care of myself some more. Right? Or like that craving to do something that you used to do that brings you a lot of joy, but you just don't do it anymore. Right? So maybe it's that yoga class. Maybe it's going out with friends. Maybe it's, learning to run again. Maybe it's exercising in the morning. But sometimes even that little voice that says, oh, I wish I had time for that, whatever that might be, can sometimes be a sign too. It's just like, hey, it's okay to do things for us. It's okay to book your own class, to have that standing, bi-weekly date with your girlfriend. It's okay.
Yes. I just, it's beautiful. And, think how the peaceful, have you experienced with your 3 burnouts, have you experienced since you've been practicing self-care more diligently that you're much more peaceful and you did I, can you?
Oh, Christy, you cut out there for a moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Oh, yes.
Technical difficulties. Okay. Have you found that that since now you are consciously making time for your own self-care, that you actually have more time and more energy to give to the whatever needs to be done and the people who around you?
Exponentially so. As So I started implementing self-care by creating a rock solid morning routine, right? So I thought I didn't have the time. I was already tired in the morning, but I knew I needed to do something different. This was after my last burnout 6 years ago. And I started working out. I started meditating, right? Became a snowball effect of different things that I did and different personal development and journaling and all of that. But the most beautiful thing began to happen. I began to just be incredibly grounded, at peace. My happiness level like skyrocketed again. It was back to those levels of like pre before you had all of the extra stuff to do, right? And you were busy all the time and it's just like life was easy, life was happy. I feel like I'm happier now than before those days of the tons of commitment because I've just become so in tune with myself. The anxiety has dropped down for years. Like there was 6 years where I struggled with my sleep hardcore and I was trying everything. I have no problems with sleep anymore. I sleep through the night.
Oh
It's
my gosh. I think every
right.
viewer might be going, wait, what's this? Sleep? What?
Right? But it's like when you begin to just honor your body so much, the calm just takes over and you become a completely different person in a beautiful way.
Mhm. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Sleep is
And
huge.
sleep is huge. I am cranky, damn cranky when I don't sleep properly.
Yes.
And, like just that self care and just being that happier version of me, that more effective version of me, it's transformed my relationships,
Mhm.
right? So by me giving myself the time to take care of me, it's actually made my relationships better, both professional and personal, which I mean, you never would have thought at the beginning, right? It's like, oh no, self-care, that's selfish. But actually you're doing the exact thing that you want and then way more by giving yourself self-care.
Absolutely. Well, what can you share with us some tips or strategies to get started on self-care and start making it a part of our routines?
Hmm.
Uh,
So I would say that the greatest thing that you can do is showing up intentionally. So what does that mean? For me, I start off by using intention setting in the shower. So most of us shower in the morning. And so if we're going to be using that time, why not use it effectively? Typically in the shower, we just have all of these random thoughts. It's like you're thinking about what you had for dinner yesterday, and then you're thinking about what you're going to do for work, and it's just like all of these random thoughts. But what if we used our shower time strategically, right? And you actually visualized yourself going throughout your day in various aspects. So maybe you have a really important business meeting that you're presenting at. Visualize, what does it feel like to step into your most friendly, your most powerful being in that meeting? Maybe you're really worried about your kid, but all they hear when you come together is you kind of nagging at them. Maybe you can visualize yourself showing up in a form where they want to be heard, where you can really hear their message. What does that feel like? Like, feel into it, visualize it, get into as much detail as you can. But if you can try and think about the biggest parts of your day and go through them in a visualization form, it really helps you actually to then do that in the moment versus just showing up in the same form that maybe you've always showed up. So starting off with intentions is really important. And then using your time efficiently, right? So if you're in the car, what would help you feel more at ease? Is it listening to peaceful music on the way there? Is it listening to nothing at all? Right? Is it thinking about that last moment where you were incredibly grounded?
mm,
Right?
yes.
So just using our time really effectively is super important.
Oh, Jennifer, oh my gosh, I feel like we could just talk about this topic forever.
I know.
It's a huge deal. I hope everybody who watches really takes this seriously because I think it's so important. I understand that you have a freebie for our viewers, and also, how can they reach you? How can they reach out to you?
Yes, thank you, Christy.
Mhm.
So, for your audience particularly, I've put together 10 questions focused on self care, and they are designed for you to help understand where you are at right now where you want to go and what is really going to serve you in the most incredible way. So I really recommend all of the viewers take time and go, don't do it all in one sitting. It's meant to be like, take your time, dedicate 10 minutes over the next 10 days. That will be my challenge to your viewers. And answer these questions. Use your pen, write it out, right?
Yes.
And then if you want more support, if they want to reach out to me to be like, wow, that was really powerful, or I want to dive in deeper here, or I have a question about that, please. I love connecting with people. I can be connected to on Jennifer@jenniferkeable.com. That is my email. Connect to me, ask your question. Let me know you're afraid. Let me know that you need help. Let me know whatever it might be. Trust me, I have been there. And then in order to access that freebie, they can just go see that link in the banner and they can access the freebie as well. I love to be able to share. I know what it's like. And I just want every single one of you to know that you are worth each and every single moment that you take to take care of yourself. And I promise you will be a better version of you when you do.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. We are coming back with the biohacking tip of the week. So stay tuned.
Hi, it's Andy, and on this week's biohacking episode, I'd like to talk about the absorption of 4 specific vitamins, and that's vitamin K, A, D, and E. Let's first talk about vitamin K. It comes in 2 forms, vitamin K1, which is found primarily in leafy green vegetables, leafy plants, and vitamin K2, which is found in animal products, all sorts of meat, cheese, dairy, eggs, and fermented plant products like natto, kimchi, and sauerkraut. And vitamin K is very important for blood clotting, bone health, and for your heart health. It helps with blood clotting. When you cut your finger, you're going to bleed to death if you're low in vitamin K. And it also reduces calcium buildup in your arteries for your heart, so better heart health, right? And studies have shown that K2 is actually better than K1 for bone health because it binds calcium better when combined with vitamin D for stronger bones. The next one is vitamin A. It once again comes in 2 forms. A1, which is retinol, and that's used immediately. Comes from all animal sources, fatty cheese, fatty fish, cheese, and food. And then it also comes in provitamin A, which is a precursor, which is found in fruits and vegetables. And you need to convert this precursor, beta-carotene, or provitamin A from fruits and vegetables, into retinol before your body can use it. And about 45% of the population has a dysfunction where they can't do that. So this is one of the situations where getting it from animal sources may be better. Vitamin A is important for eyesight, important for cellular functions, immune functions, and heart health again. Next one's vitamin D. Once again, it comes in 2 forms, vitamin D2 and D3. D2 you can find in wild mushrooms, D3 from animal products, fatty fish, and of course exposure from UVB light. Vitamin D is so important for your immune system. It's anti-inflammatory. It's an antioxidant for muscle and brain health too. So vitamin D, once again, the animal sources seem to be better than wild mushrooms, right? And because you need to convert vitamin D2 to D3 before your body can use it. The last one is vitamin E, and this is easily found in all seafood, nuts, seeds, vegetables. It's a very important, powerful antioxidant that helps with your eyesight, muscle repair, and of course your immune system. And the reason I'm talking about these 4 specific vitamins is because these are what's called fat-soluble vitamins, which means that if you don't have any fat in your diet, you can't absorb these vitamins. So one, you may be getting these vitamins from plant sources, so in which case they have to convert to a source that your body can use, which you can get directly from the animal sources. But 2, even if you are eating enough of these vitamins, your body can't absorb them because you're not having enough oils in your diet, right? So what are some healthy oils? Some healthy oils I recommend are like coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, and sesame oil. I know there's a lot of people thinking that coconut oil is not good because it's saturated fat, but saturated fat studies have shown is actually good for you. It's the chemically processed oils that are bad for you, such as canola oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, soybean oils, and even corn oil, which is what I grew up on, right? And if you don't have any problems having animal products for your oil sources, I recommend good old-fashioned organic grass-fed butter, or even grass-fed ghee, where the butter has the dairy process out of it, or one of my favorites, grass-fed beef tallow or duck fat. And have you ever tried duck fat fries? Just amazing, right? So remember, these 4 vitamins are so essential for your health, for your immune system, for your eyesight. If you don't have enough vitamin A, you can go blind, right? You don't have enough vitamin K, you can have heart damage. You can have plaque. You can have calcium build on your heart. You may may not be able to stop bleeding if you don't have enough vitamin K. And of course, vitamin D and E is really good antioxidants, immune system. So many benefits of these 4 vitamins, but they don't work if you don't have good fats in your diet. So just remember to have fat in your diet so you can afford these 4 key essential vitamins.
Hi, everyone. This is Christy Boyd Johnson of the Barefoot Learning Club. It is a sad fact that today politics have completely taken over the schools. Real learning has been sacrificed for political agendas. As a result, kids are not learning to read. We have 2nd and 3rd graders barely reading, except for those lucky kids who will read no matter what the schools do to them. Unfortunately, that is not the majority. When I was teaching, I watched how really good reading systems were systematically eliminated from the schools. I saw kids shutting down and believing that they were too dumb to learn. Worse still, by making reading unattainable, they are essentially stealing our kids' futures. So the rebel that is me went on a quest to find reading programs that really work, that work with our neurological systems to enhance and speed up the learning process. And the number one thing that needs to happen is that we have to teach our kids to read. That is why Alicia and I started the Barefoot Learning Club. We are giving everyone the opportunity to learn to read in a way that is simple, fast, and fun. Best of all, your kids will start having success and never again believe that they are too dumb to learn. Go to barefootlearningclub.com now and sign up. Join me in being a rebel and let's get our kids reading. If they can read, they can literally do anything.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. How did you like the guest today?
I think she was amazing. She hit a lot of points that we even mentioned, but she got in a little deeper. And I think that's important. Self-care is definitely something that everyone should think about, because the way I look at it is like everyone says, I need to take care of the family, I need to take care of my animals, I need to take care of my parents. If you're not taking care of yourself, there's no way you can take care of others.
Right. So let's change the subject a little bit. You know how we joke about Martians, they eat rocks?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's so true.
But Earthlings, we don't.
Not normally. Not
what
normally.
about bugs?
Well, there are certain cultures that eat bugs, fried grasshoppers and stuff like that. But I know we definitely don't eat plastic.
For sure. Plastic is not food. We all know that.
So there's been an article that we recently saw, and it was talking about rocks found in Trader Joe cookies. And I'm not talking about chocolate chips or rock sugar or anything like that. They literally found rocks in the cookies.
Yeah, and before that, there were insects in the broccoli cheese soup of, I forgot who it was. And of course, as you can see in the image we hear, there are pieces of plastics found in the frozen chicken strips.
Yeah, so do you want some plastic with your chicken nuggets?
I actually don't eat chicken nuggets, so I don't know. But I would think not.
Exactly. So, contamination is one of the top reasons for food recalls in the U.S. And, federal agencies and, extraneous, that's how you pronounce it, I believe. Man, such big words. Or foreign to describe metal fragments, rubber gasket, or bugs, right? And, that's why, like, a lot of times people say, hey, we see a sale at so-and-so supermarket or Costco and they're buying like organic berries or whatever. And I tell them, look, if it's not coming in its raw form and it's frozen in a bag, we don't buy it no matter how cheap it is.
So just to give you an idea how big these food recalls can be, back in 2019, you remember the Tyson, the chicken
Oh yeah,
thingy,
that was a really big deal.
the chicken strips,
Yeah.
they were tainted with pieces of metal.
Wow.
That was 16 million pounds that was recalled in that year, including the Tyson, which is a big chunk of it.
So there's 16 million pounds of chicken strips.
Mhm.
That's probably in everyone's
Yep.
refrigerator that was recalled. I wonder how many people actually ate it before it got recalled, right?
You would think.
Exactly.
Right? Even last year, there were 477,000 pounds of food that were regulated by USDA that was recalled for one of these foreign objects like plastics and rocks and metals.
So how do these plastics and rocks and metals go in there? Like I imagine that the manufacturers aren't just throwing it in there for kicks.
Remember your favorite episode of I Love Lucy?
Yes. That chocolate conveyor belt. I don't know if you ever saw it, but like this was a wrap of chocolates. But the conveyor belt was going so quickly, she started eating them, like throwing her hat into her shirt. It was the most hilarious thing.
So you know that food actually goes through the conveyor belts, processed foods, right? And sometimes when they transfer them, you put them in these wood crates, and they might not be new. So might have wood shards from these pellets, or these machineries. They have metal shavings or wirings or whatnot. You never know what it is.
Well, that's true. If anyone knows my background, I was in automotive, and we used to rebuild engines and stuff like that. And you think about for any type of machinery, there's wear and tear, and wear and tear means that things wear down, gears wear down. So I can totally understand where all these metal shavings, like it's just like the machinery just wearing down and just dropping on the conveyor belt, right?
Yeah, when you're in a manufacturing facility, you see these people wearing the full plastic shields.
Mm-hmm.
Things do fly out into your faces. So why wouldn't they be in your foods?
That is so true. So true. So FDA acknowledges that some contamination may even be expected. So it is economically impractical to grow, harvest, or process raw products that are totally free of non-hazardous, naturally occurring, unavoidable defects. I don't even know what that means.
It means you can always expect something in your foods. They don't guarantee that you would never have. They don't guarantee it's going to be 100% foreign objects free. That's basically what they're saying. It's up to you to eat those things.
That reminds me of I forget if it was at one of the main fast food stores. It was like Popeyes. It was like where they have chicken fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there was actually a real finger along with the chicken fingers because someone actually clipped his finger, but they deep fried it along with the chicken fingers, and it was along in there. So yeah, you can get some pretty strange things even going out to eat.
Well, think about it. Chickens don't have fingers.
Yeah, they should be calling them chicken toes, I guess. Huh?
So the banquet issue that was discovered when someone reported an oral injury after eating chicken strips. So these foreign objects, it could really hurt you.
That is crazy. So when it comes down to how do you avoid all these foreign objects, right? Because like FDA already acknowledged that, hey, things happen. I was going to say something else, but things happen. And, I think that just for them covering their butts, but, there's, like you said, there's things that can fall and contaminate the conveyor belts. It could be coming in from the raw materials, especially when it comes down to all these processed products. Like, what is the best ways to prevent eating rocks or insects and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, FDA is telling you there's no way if you're buying a food product being the main word is that, they don't guarantee you would never have, zero risk with these contaminations. Even the writer that we brought out this article on, she's also saying that there's never going to be a day where there's zero risk involved with consuming a food product. So I guess the key is a food product, not necessarily real food.
So we're talking really about processed food products, technically, aren't we? So anything that comes in a package,
a box, a bag, a jar of something, a can, a bottle.
Yeah. It's processed somewhere, right? And if there's any chance of it being processed somewhere, there's always chance of having contamination into it. And that's where we see the biggest recalls, right? And that's where my big beef, coming back to those packaged organic produce, right? We always buy our own fresh in season and freeze our own, as opposed to buying organic frozen strawberries, blueberries, because you always hear salmonella. It's like, oh my gosh, where'd the salmonella coming from? And meanwhile, it's like sitting in your fridge for the last 2-3 months, and you've been using it for shakes and stuff, right?
For sure. I mean, we buy our own fruits when it's in season, so it's cheaper, and then we freeze it ourselves. And you can take food prep as one of your ways to do self-care. It's just a way to take you from whatever you're doing from your busy life to do something that is more monotonous, but it actually takes your brain off the stress for a while.
That's so true, because like a lot of these processed foods, they taste so much better when you're making your own, like chicken strips. You can actually make your own chicken strips. You can air fry them, and then you can freeze them back up to re-air fry later, right?
Yep. So the takeaway is to eat real food and prep your own food. And we'll be right back after the...
Hello! We are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Hi guys, I'm Noelle Agape, host of the Soul on Fire show. Join us every Wednesday at 3 Pacific Standard Time on the Vitality channel here on E360 TV.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. So we talk about self-care today, right? And self-care is not something that you can put to your back burner. Self-care is something you need to actually put on your schedule and really do. Because you know what? If you don't care for yourself, when you really need to be 100%, yourself, that's the time when something's going to hit you. I have seen people, dropping when they most need it. I've seen people that had heart attacks or panic attacks or whatever attacks at the moment they were needed the most. So self-care is important, and put on a schedule, no matter whether you can start with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, you can always find that time. And like Jennifer says, do it in your shower. Start singing in the shower, something.
So agree, so true, so true. And also to eat real foods, make all your own foods, try to eat less processed, so we're not eating rocks and insects, right? So who do we have next week?
Well, next week we have Phil McComan, who is going to be our guest. And so, come back here, join us here on Friday, 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network. And of course, we would love to hear from you. You can give us your comments on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life. Rewatch this episode and all our past episodes on our website, chronicallyhealthylife.com, our YouTube channel, or if you have any questions, email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.